Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get started on the live stream. Give me an audio check. Let me know if you guys can hear me, and we'll start digging into these charts. Pretty slow week. Pretty slow week, really. The last couple weeks. I mean, it's obviously been kind of this grind higher in the triple Qs. Just there's really just been low volume grind higher. So that's I've just been kind of watching that. There's no sell signals or reasons for me to be short or get short on triple Qs right now. I am on the lookout for it, but I don't see it yet. So what I would be looking for, let me just kind of look at that. Obviously, we talked about this island cluster top. That's no longer a valid pattern, so nothing I'd be trading. Now, yeah, I mean, if it comes down and then gaps down, you still would have that island cluster, but it's just not a very ideal pattern to watch. And then if I look at the hourly, this is how I can tell. It seems to be like algorithmic, just trading. The computers are basically just, really low volume. There's no institutional participation, but you can see on the hourly chart, we're just walking up this really short trend line. It did break on Friday, so maybe it wants to come down. There's a secondary trend line just below, and that's kind of a more important one. So maybe it's going to come down a little bit. I was looking for that on Friday, see if I could maybe trade that. Nothing I was going to point out to the major group, though. I mean, but yeah, potential trade there. It's about 1.5%. Going back to that hourly chart, you can see we're starting to build some negative divergence on the hourly. Let me kind of clean that up. Get rid of this one. You can see there it is on the hourly, just starting to show up there. All right, so there's your negative divergence on both momentum indicators. So that is a divergent high, but there was really no sell signal. So again, I use divergence to give me an idea of a potential trend change reversal, but then you need that sell signal to tell you that it's actually happening now. Doji candle, break of trend line support, something. We didn't see anything. Now it did break, so maybe it wants to do that. I didn't take the trade though. I'm gonna just it's the end of the day Friday, right before a weekend. I don't want to take a trade into the weekend that isn't that concrete. Okay, so that's that one. And on the daily, I don't really see. I mean, you do have divergence that's been building. It's still there. So as long as this turns down soon, you'll keep that divergence. Otherwise, we're going to burn through it. All right. So it's not confirmed yet. I mean, it's there, but it's not fully confirmed. So I need to see the momentum indicator start to turn down. And then what I'll probably look for is a break of this trend line here. We'll probably get another reaction on it. And then a break of that trend line would help, might be a sell signal where you could get a, pullback, maybe fill this gap to fill right there. So that would be a good target. Back test of this former resistance line would be support. There's lots of support below, so we'll be looking at that. I'll look at the Magnificent Seven, align those with this trade. But as of right now, it's moving higher, so that's that. One thing that's kind of more interesting to me, I guess, is the potential for commodities and gold. Those all seem decent. The dollar took a beating after the Fed. Here's the dollar. Rallied a little bit on Friday, but you can see post-Fed, a pretty good breakdown right there. That's Fed day, and then that's, following Fed day. A little bit of a rally, but that's actually an inside day right there on Friday, which means you just traded within the range of the previous day. Inside days typically are just continuation days. So let's see. So as of right now, we're on a downtrend in the dollar, and I don't see that changing right now. Potential bullish divergence. It's potential, but it's not fully confirmed yet. So we will just keep an eye on that. And then there's some support down here about 150 on the dollar. So dollar falling's probably going to continue to be bullish for the markets. Let's look at gold. I know I was looking at bullion. Yeah, so we're still contending with that major resistance about 2070. If I roll out, you can see it's a triple top. Actually, sorry, it's like a quad top basically. You can see going all the way back to 2020. There's, you know, reaction. There's a third. Here's a fourth. So support that I see, right, we're kind of range bound. Support is about 1806. If you want to look at the major range, is about 1806, and then resistance is that top. So we'll see. We don't really have an upward trend there, so that's not valid. So we need to get through that. That's your next kind of major buy signal, as long as there's no negative divergence when it happens. If it breaks out and there's negative divergence, it's going to have a high probability of failing. But if it breaks out and there is no negative divergence, then that's likely going to be a major breakout, and then we should, you know, continue to run. Okay, that's the way I'm leaning. If I roll out and look at the weekly chart, and this is gold, I just talk about gold because it plays into the miners. I mean, the miners will follow. But if I look at gold, you've got this, I know that I go to these large charts, my patterns are all, it's a messy chart, but this is a rounding bottom, or you could say it's like a cup and handle, but you know, the handle part got a little jacked up, but definitely a rounding bottom. This is a weekly chart, so it's going all the way back to 2011. So, you know, over a decade, but a big accumulation pattern. And so to me, it looks like we had a bull run that started back in 2001. All right, that bull run went into a big accumulation pattern, and now that I think we're going to continue the bull run is what it kind of looks like. We're going to have another move like this. It's going to take years. It's not going to play out in a month or so. I mean, it's going to be years, and there's going to be big downdrafts. I mean, look, that's a 30% drop there. So that's what it looks like to me. That's gold, and miners look, will follow. But as of right now, yeah, we'll see. And then Newmont, actually, if I go down to this is a weekly chart, but the daily, refine it down. That looks bullish to me, all right? We've got this bullish falling wedge. We've got bullish divergence. I talked about that for a while. So the last objective trade, well, I talked about this one being pretty objective, pointed that out and said, guys, that's a divergent low at support. It's very objective to buy this. And if you did that, obviously that worked. Then you broke out. That's a breakout candle. And then you back tested. All right, you break out. And then this back test was another objective entry. And I talked about that one as well, saying that's objective. And, boom, big rally. So I think we're, heading up to about here. All right. This is a reaction high. It's about 46. I think that's probably the next target. And potentially higher, but I take the widest part of the wedge, which is here. All right, and the 49.50 is the measured target for that pattern. So, but there is some resistance right there. So I think we probably do something like, we'll contend with the 200 maybe for a little bit, but ultimately I think we break through it, hit that resistance, get a pullback, and then run up to the measured target. All right, and so the rest of the miners should follow. Okay, getting into your guys' charts, I'm going to go for about, I'll just go till I'm kind of run through them all. SE, is that C Limited? Is that memory chips? Is that what they do? I don't know what these guys do. All right, so there's a big sell signal there. I've covered this one in the past. All right, so you have some bullish divergence. Okay, you see it right here. It's been building. Look for that to confirm again. But that is definitely some bullish divergence. Usually you see bullish divergence after like a big earnings miss. So there's the earnings miss where it gapped down. And then usually that washes out a lot of the sellers. And so you end up getting like these little spikes down. But ultimately most of the sellers are washed out. And you'll see that bullish divergence showing. So that's what I see. I don't have a buy signal though. Let's see if I can make a trend line. That's interesting here. It's not really a breakout, though, that I would say it was a buy signal. So that one, see if I can make anything here. Yeah, it's a little tricky. I can't quite make a clean trend line. You could maybe say this. This is probably about as good as I can make as this. Is something like that. It's, you know, you don't quite have enough reactions to validate it. So, you know, maybe you get another reaction or something. I don't see a buy signal here. I see some bullish divergence, but it could set up for a while. You never know. So we need a buy signal. And there's just not enough to go off of this downtrend line. Maybe you've got some horizontal resistance here at the gap. I mean, that's obviously, people can see that. It's very obvious. So break above that, you gap fill, and you might want to run. It's not a super clean chart to me. Cat. Okay, Cat. That looks like a breakout there on Cat. This is the post-Fed, right? I don't know. They had some, I don't know what who knows what that is. That's actually on Thursday. Looks like a breakout. Okay, you had 1, 2, 3 reactions. That's an impulsive move, and it's impulsive because you're breaking that resistance. All right, it just validates that as resistance. And that's all I see. It looks bullish to me. I'd want to be buying pullbacks to support on this one. The market in general has turned a little more bullish, at least since the Fed, because the the Fed has basically said they're gonna start cutting rates, and it's that's the market loves that. Basically free and easy money for the market. It has turned bullish, but not everything's bullish, and triple Qs, we'll see. I'm still not sold that we're just entering a brand new bull market. If you look at the equal weighted triple Qs and just throw out the weighting of the 7 stocks, your all-time highs are way up here, so you still have a ways to go. But yeah, this move is bullish. It's been bullish. Okay, so that is CAT, URI, United Rentals. Yeah, so this is the trend line I was watching here, and I was saying, okay, if we break this trend line, that would be a sell signal, and then I think we would head down to about 415. We never broke that trend line though. And impulsive move up. The market though is getting a pretty frothy. That is one thing that I've noticed. It's definitely getting pretty frothy. There's like a FOMO trade going on. Could be a blow off top. That's happening. And nothing I'd want to be chasing. I mean, look at that move. That's really impulsive. 18% in a matter of just a couple of days. But I don't see a sell signal, so could go higher, although way overbought on the RSI. It's about as overbought. This is at 78, and if you roll back and look at how overbought does this one get, before, just historically, and I can see it's roughly here, roughly about 81 or so is about as overbought as it gets, and then you're gonna probably get a pullback. It doesn't guarantee you're going to get a pullback. I don't use the RSI overbought and oversold as, something to tell me to trigger a trade, but it does give you pause. All right, so that's URI. It's probably at all-time highs, so I mean, there's no resistance overhead. If I look at the hourly, I don't even see negative divergence here on the hourly, so yeah, I definitely wouldn't short it. All right, SMG. Scott's Miracle-Gro. Well, this is the trend line I had previously. I didn't love it because of this move, this kind of pattern right here. But you can see it did break out above it, and that's pretty impulsive. So guess that trend line was a valid trend line. And, you know, pull back, the buyer stepped in, it looks bullish. You're at the 200 now. You've starting to show some negative divergence on the daily. Just barely starting to show up, so it doesn't mean that this move is over. And again, what I would be looking for, this thing doesn't like to have clean trend lines, it seems. I don't know, maybe that. It's not that clean because of that violation there. But it still seems to be holding an uptrend, so I would not be shorting this. It looks bullish. You're probably going to go fill this gap or at least get closer. All right, there's a gap. You're probably going to have a push up to that gap. Don't wait for the gap, though, because it's such an... Anytime you have a very, very obvious level, you never want to wait for that exact level because you don't want to miss the move, right? When you have an obvious gap, there's one of two things that typically happen. One, you run up, get close, and then the sellers step in, and that's it. You don't actually fill the gap. Two, you run up and you overshoot the gap, okay, and then you turn. You don't know which one it's going to be, and so if you're long and you want to, you know, take some profit home, then you want to, you know, step in before the gap. SQM. This must be another ag servicer. I can't make a trend line here. Probably here. It's about as good as I can make it. Well, there's bullish divergence. This looks bullish to me. I mean, there's the bullish divergence. Okay, so that was building for a while. And I can't, you know, the problem with this one is I don't think I was able to make a super clean trend line, but there, we'll go with that. All right, I've got 1, 2, and we'll say 3, and that's a buy signal. That I think that aligns with, you know, how this is Thursday after the Fed, and the market was like, you know, oh my goodness, they're going to cut. So yeah, that looks bullish to me, and we're going to say that's the buy signal, especially with the bullish divergence. This is one I'd want to go long on buying pullbacks. Okay, so maybe you come fill this gap. That's probably a good buy point. Maybe you backtest the trend line. That's a buy point. I'd want to buy dips on this one. All right. And then look at, you know, if you kind of want to measure out the reactions to find your, this looks like a good one there. Yeah, right up there, about 63.50 or so. Looks to be some resistance. Looks bullish to me. MPW. Or is that what it is? Yep, MPW. Medical Properties Trust. So this is a REIT, I suppose. Yep. Again, not a very clean trend line there, so I don't love that. Bullish divergence on the daily. Very, very clean and clear bullish divergence. No buy signal. Probably, you know, you've got some reactions here. That I would say that a break of there, which is about 560, would be a buy signal. Okay. The trend line up here is not something I can say is a valid trend line. I only have 2 data points, so I really just can't make a trend line. I just can't make a trend line that I would consider valid. So could use Fibonacci projections. That's one method to do it. Or these reaction, you know, you look at these reaction points. There's another one. So you've got breakout at 5. It's about 556 or so. You probably run up to 720-ish. There's the 200. That would be a very probable area. And, you know, what's that move? That's a good move. I mean, we're talking 30% right there. So that's the trade, I think. Breakout and then a move up, you know, a 28% move. Could be more, but you know, I'd have to reevaluate. Okay, snow. This is a database. So yeah, these are the divergent lows that's been happening. I've got them kind of circled out from the last time I did analysis on this one. Divergent lows. It's about as clean of a trend line as I can make. It isn't even that good, but you can see it gapped right up to it. Boom. And so help validate that. And, you know, that's a breakout. And then obviously it's been running. Now that it's up here, I don't see any negative divergence, though, not on the daily. It's probably on the hourly, but I don't see it on the daily. Yeah, see, you got some on the hourly here. So that's indicating that, okay, this move's probably overextended and you're likely going to get a pullback, but I don't see anything on the daily that would tell me longer term there is a, you know, like a trend there. To me, it looks like there's your trend line on the hourly. A break of that trend line would indicate a pullback. And you're probably going to go fill some of these gaps. You got 2 gaps to fill. You could probably go fill both of those. And that's what I'd be looking for. Because of the negative divergence in the hourly, I'd be looking for that. You break down, you know, but the daily, I don't see it. So I would not be willing to like hold this as a trend trade. I'd be looking at like that, maybe there, maybe down to the 200. Okay, it's possible. This thing's already bottomed. I mean, again, I don't want to short something that's like tanked. Okay, and you can see this IPO'd as well, yeah, it IPO'd in 2020, and you're down over the last couple of years. You're down about 15%. If you bought the hype train of, you know, 2021 and stuff like that, you know, you're probably not going to get your money back for quite a while, to be honest. You know, you're down over half your money. So I don't want to short this. It's already, you know, it's too high risk to short it after it's already tanked. Okay. So that's that one. Airbnb. I don't know. This one looks, it's probably gonna just chop sideways. It looks like it's gonna maybe just be consolidating in a larger range. Obviously, it's on a swing up right now, but and I don't see negative divergence right now. So you might pop these highs in price and put in a divergence. That's possible. I don't see any reason to short it. So it's on a swing up. If you want to look at the hourly, there's probably some negative divergence. Let's look. Yeah, it's starting to show up on the hourly. You know, once you get extended moves, usually you see it on the hourly. Doesn't give you a reason to short it though, because you got to break trend line support, and I can't even make a clean trend line. So for me, I would just I would pass, or if I was long, I'd probably just trail stops. But I wouldn't short this thing. Coin, Bitcoin. Yeah, so you've got this one's looks like a short. It's not actionable yet, but you've got negative divergence starting to show up on the daily. You have this impulsive move, and again, usually what happens, it's obviously down quite a bit. I mean, you've just lost money. The Bitcoin hype train, guys, is just that. It's just speculation. So when you have rampant speculation in the market, frothiness essentially, then you can see these things, you know, this Bitcoin stuff, you know, go crazy. It can run, but in general, there's really nothing behind it. Yeah, that looks like a trend line there. And then, you know, this is a strong move. Wish I caught that one. 118%. It's starting to diverge, but you don't have a sell signal. So what you'd want to look for is, let's see if I can even make a trend line. It almost looks parabolic. That's the trend line there. And so the sell signal would come on a break of this trend line, okay? And you know, you're pretty far off it. But that's, yeah. So I wouldn't short this until it broke the trend line. It does look like it's setting up for a short, but there's no sell signal. Okay, so that's that one. AVGO, that's a semiconductor. All right, AVGO. Oh, that's a strong move. Okay, so this one looks like a short to me as well. I was actually looking at this, I think, on last week. I was starting to get interested in shorting the semis. Obviously, NVIDIA, that's kind of the key one you really want to watch. NVIDIA is like the Apple of the semis, so it's really important. And it's a Mag 7. It's just in general important to the market right now. This one you have negative divergence, but it's not confirmed. So you can see this price is moving up and the momentum is moving up. If we keep going up, you're going to burn through the divergence and it won't exist anymore. So I can't just short it because I have divergence. It's not confirmed and I don't have a sell signal. And then I got to check something, guys. Sorry, I might be slightly off. My scales, I didn't have log scale set. I could tell it looked a little weird because my lines were shifting. So that does have an impact on some of the stuff. So make sure it'll be close because log scale is basically critical when you're looking at long time frames. But in the short term, it's not, you know, if you're looking at just like a couple weeks and stuff, it's not going to have a couple months. It's not going to have a major difference, just slight differences. But long term, it does. So I always use log scale. There's your trend line. And some of those charts that I said I couldn't make a trend line, maybe I can. Sorry, guys. I just noticed it. I think on Friday I was looking at trying to see what something looked like to people that don't use log scale, because most retail investors, they don't use log scale, so they just see these huge parabolas and stuff, and so I wanted to get an idea of maybe kind of how they're seeing things, so that's why I turned the log scale off. This is the trend line in AVGO. It has negative divergence, no sell signal. If I look at the hourly, I can't even really make a trend line there. So from my perspective, I need to see this trend line break here. All right. And that would be the sell signal. And then you obviously have to see like NVIDIA and SOXX. That's another one you'd want to really, that's the index. And it looks very similar. I can't, you do have divergence on the PPO. It's not really there on the RSI. So, yeah, no sell signals. Dish, all right. Let me look. This person comments about Dish, and they said it's rallied quite a bit from the lows and might have bottomed. What are my thoughts? Okay. Well, there's obviously a big earnings miss. Let me see if I can make any kind of a trend line here. Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. Right about there. Yeah, I have multiple reactions there. Of course, that didn't, it did work out if you bought that little sell signal. I mean, it rallied 25%. Okay, so that would help. And then it put it, and I'll just show you how these divergences work, because they do work. They don't always work, but they do work. And then look, you rallied 25%. You put in this new high right here, but that high was a divergent high, all right, indicating, okay, probably gonna look for a sell signal or break a trend line, and you know, you mark something like that out, and then ultimately I think that was your sell signal, and down she goes. Okay, now we're down here. Nah, I can't say this is bottomed. Doesn't look to me like it's bottomed. That's not even a very clean trend line. You know, you're kind of right here at resistance. All right, this is your former reaction high, and look, you rallied into that resistance, closing right. You know, closing basically. See that big candle? Okay, look where you closed, right at resistance. So, in general, it looks like it's at resistance and probably gonna have another move down. I don't see anything telling me that it's bottomed. Okay. But again, guys, this is just my opinion. You know, I could be wrong. I'm going to be wrong. I don't get everything right. It's impossible to get everything right. So there are some trades I get right, some trades I get wrong. We got to manage our position size so you're not just loading the boat on the one trade I'm really confident on, and maybe you don't take the other trades that I get right, and you know, that happens. So again, do your own analysis as well. All right, PayPal. I got to move this up, because, all right, we're just going to have to go with that right now because, and I think I probably could even move it up a little bit more to about there. This looks like another reaction. So I see a big bullish falling wedge, all right, or potential wedge. You did undercut it here. I think it's a bullish falling wedge. You've got bullish divergence on the PPO. I don't have it on the RSI though, so I don't know. If I had to guess, maybe another move down, all right, and then, you know, and then maybe a breakout, but that's where I'm leaning towards that right now. Google's been chopping sideways on us. This is the downtrend line I've had marked out, and so far it has held. Look, there's the highs. So here's Google. I mean, Google actually to me looks like more of a short than maybe some of these others. You've got this bearish rising wedge, all right? You've got a breakdown and a sell signal. It's a very clean and clear breakdown. Again, we traded this, and so I caught the move, you know, most of the move. There's the sell signal. Okay, and then when it back tested here, this is where I pointed it out as a very objective trade. All right, you go back and look at October, basically October 12th or 13th. You look at the videos, and I have this one, you know, dead to rights. So I was basically talking about that being a very objective trade, and then sure enough, boom, just smack down, you know, and it fell from that entry 14-15%. Okay, but then things were hitting support, so we got out of that trade, took our profit, and that was it. What's it done? Now it's rallied into this downward trend line, and that's resistance. 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 It's holding that trend line. So Google is actually trending lower. All right. It may not feel like it because, again, when the market gets into this mania, they push a narrative. I don't know if the banks pay, you know, the trading desks pay them to do it. I don't know, but CNBC will push a narrative of, you know, they push a narrative, a bullish narrative or whatever, and I think it just gets caught up in the psyche of people where they just see, you know, they just can't imagine things going lower, but the chart tells me different. All right, this is a high, this is a lower high, this is a lower high. Now, it hasn't made lower lows, so you could say we're doing a triangle or something, but in general, yeah, that's probably what I'd use. And a break to the upside would be bullish, a breakdown, bearish. As of right now, with this negative divergence that has literally, our last divergent high was there. So I would say we're going lower. And the measured target on this one, this thing got adjusted slightly. The measured target on Google is about this part, the widest part of the wedge. Actually, this one I think maybe was hit. The breakdown occurred there. We got close. Yeah, that one, if I remember right, said we got close. So, because when it came all the way down here, it was close enough. I took the profit, but it didn't hit the measure target. So, yeah, I would lean more towards that. Although I'm not trading it right now because of the other charts. I just don't see enough in the, broad market to want to short this thing. So I'd lean that way, but I'm not confident enough to put my own money on it. All right, so that's that one. mRNA, continued downtrend, or is it bottoming? Well, let me look. That's funny. Why do I have this? Let me see here. Sorry, guys. Just there. Okay. Downtrend. All right. That's a downtrend. So, for one, I would never say this downtrend's finished until I see a buy signal. And I do not see a buy signal. I see a downtrend, resistance, resistance, resistance. And I don't see bullish divergence. So continue downtrend. That's the way I would lean. All right. The trend is down. There's no divergence. There's no breakout of resistance or buy signal. So you stick with the prevailing trend, which is down. So yeah, that's how I'd see it. Probably going to go all the way back down to these. Is this a SPAC? No. But yeah, I'd say all the way back down here. That's, as of right now, that's where I'd say it's going. Well, I don't know. That's crazy. It's crazy to think that it can get all the way down there. But yeah, that's long-term support. It's about 15 or so. So until the trend changes, down. All right. I don't know if it's going to get all the way down there before maybe a move up, but. And this is big resistance right here at about 117.59. You can see I've got lots of reactions on that level. So big resistance there. So if you do get a buy signal, the target would be that resistance. It's about 117-ish. All right. But there's no buy signal. So maybe it does this, then it breaks out, then you might have that run. That's big resistance. Okay. Let me just make sure I'm not covering one person's picks. I want to make sure I'm getting through a bunch. CRSP. Yeah, not a very clean trend line from the highs there, so I don't like that per se. That's a little better. Looks bullish to me, if I had to guess. It looks bullish. It's not a very clean trader, though, to be honest. I don't know, biotech, that's why. These are very headline based. I typically stay away from the biotechs. But if I had to position on this one, you've got some bullish divergence here. You obviously got the move out of it already. That's a divergent high there when it spiked up. There's negative divergence. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if it does look bullish, to be honest, now that I'm seeing this divergent high. And again, the trend lines aren't that clean, so I don't have an opinion. Sorry. It's just not. I couldn't tell you one way or the other. It doesn't look clean enough. So my opinion would be to wait for the chart to develop a little more before having an opinion. Okay. Jonathan, appreciate the super chat. Thank you. WTI crude. Yeah, we can look at crude oil. We'll look at. I use the futures for that, and then you could look at like USO, obviously. So crude. This looks like a bullish falling wedge. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so, hold on. Got to make sure I can. It's about there, I guess. It's not that little violation slightly, but okay. I'd say a bullish falling wedge is almost a wedge. Could just be a channel. It's and we got decent support. Decent support down here at 63.50. That's good support. I don't see enough to tell me to go long crude yet. I haven't pointed it out. I think there's probably going to be a crude long soon. I don't see enough here in the chart to tell me to go long quite yet. But there is some decent support. You know, we're coming into some pretty decent support. There's actually some support right here too, it looks like. Right about there. So a zone of support. Maybe there's another move down into that zone. It's looking like we're coming into support, but I don't have a buy signal. I don't have divergence. Here's USO. Yeah, it looks kind of the same to me. Again, kind of that zone of support. Yeah, so it looks like it's still down, okay, but coming into some support. Maybe there's a trade setting up in the future. I don't see anything quite yet. If you're looking to go long, I don't see the long quite yet, but we'll find it. You know. Okay, that's that one. Appreciate and then you could look at the servicers too, like or XLE, you know, rallied right into the 200-day and resistance on last week. You can see here it's about right there. A couple violations right there, but in general the sellers were there. Okay, we'll say that's resistance. It's about the top of this candle right about there. 84.76. Yeah, there's some bullish divergence there. Again, this is stocks. The market was rallying. So you had some bullish divergence. It's right here in the PPO. Divergent low. So yeah, you could see some more upside in the actual stocks, the service, oil services. The commodity, though, I don't see it quite yet. But again, it's at resistance. That's resistance. You need to break out for the next buy signal. All right, where was I? Pappy. All right, you got 3 picks. I'm going to pick one. ENPH. Is that interphase? Is that energy too? ENPH. Phase or whatever. That's energy. Yeah, so it looks bullish. You're probably going to run up to the 200. Again, like I said, the XLE looked bullish, so yeah, that one looks bullish as well. Got a gap to fill. Triple M, Oracle, BYON, and AA. So there's your resistance. So your last divergent low was right here. Bullish divergence, all right, divergent low. High probability of a trend reversal, but, you know, and then you got to clean this one up. Let me see if there's any kind of trend line we can make. Oh, see. Need to figure out a way to lock that stuff so I'm not always messing with it. Pretty good move there. You're right into resistance, so you're probably going to get a pullback, but I'd want to be buying dips on this if I had to pick a direction. I've got bullish divergence. To me, it looks like it broke out and kind of traded sideways, but ultimately it's getting going now. So I'd want to probably be buying pullbacks to support. There's some support right there. So yeah, that's about 27.92-ish. You know, so up to the next level. Yeah, so I'd want to be buying pullbacks to support on this Alcoa when it looks more bullish than anything. Neo. I don't know if there's anything on this one. Let me look. Nah, dead money. You got bullish divergence. It's building, but there's no buy signal, so there's your trend line. That's what I would use. All right, resistance, 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 resistance. No buy signal. You have bullish divergence. It's building, so you get the breakout of that, and then you're probably going to go fill this gap. And let me see if there's anything overhead. Nah, nothing really overhead. This is possible. This is coming off the highs. And then you've got a reaction. Hold on, I got to tighten it up a little bit. There, you got a reaction there. So maybe it's not a valid trend line because I only have 2 data points, but if you get another move down and another reaction, that would give you 3. And then maybe you see a breakout of that, and that could be a powerful buy signal. As of right now, no buy signals. You do have bullish divergence. I wouldn't want to be shorting this, but I don't want to be long either because I don't have a buy signal. I'd just be on the lookout for a buy signal. Okay. Net. Okay, so that's the trend line I had. Let me just look at it again. Yeah, so in the market I had it as well because you can see, boom, breakout, back test, buyer stepped in. Okay, so RSI doesn't have divergence. The PPO does, but it's not confirmed. So I'd probably mark some sort of a trend line like this on your daily chart, and you can fine tune it on the hourly, but I'd probably use that. And I don't see, there's no sell signal, so it's obviously the trend is up. And you have divergence on the PPO. It's not really on the RSI. So yeah, I'd probably just stick with the trend for now. Gets kind of choppy. There's not, it's hard to make a strong resistance level, but yeah, because it kind of gets really choppy overhead. So yeah, that's it. Stick with the trend until proven otherwise. Okay, let's see here. MTOM, I already got one of yours, so I'm going to pass this Next one, Ronnie. Did I get any of yours? No. Okay, FXI, Baba, Pfizer. Is it a buy? When is the bottom? Well, nobody knows when the bottom is per se. The charts can give us a clue. This is, I'm not going to do this one unless I have that wrong. Yeah, that's China. Let's look at, well, yeah, so this one's, this guy's interested in the Chinese stocks. Bob has been kind of walking down this trend line to the point where I just don't even like it anymore. Okay. Okay. So there's... Yeah, Bob has been difficult for me to chart lately. I haven't even really tried. Let me go back to this FXI one real quick. Looks very similar to Baba. Baba probably is a heavily weighted in this one. I mean, you just made a new low here, and the momentum's making a new low, so I don't see any indication of a trend reversal. You know, you might get to me, it looks like it's trending lower, all right? And you might get a wave up, but larger picture, I don't see an indication of a trend reversal right now, so... So I don't know where the bottom is, but it doesn't look like it's at the bottom now. PFE, Pfizer. Yeah, same with this one. I just don't see any indication of a trend reversal. Some big volume going on here. The market probably had decent volume after it was Fed. But no divergence, so that's a downtrend. You know, and I look for big volume because that's possibly an indication of capitulation, where the sellers just say, I've had enough and I'm out, and you wash out, and then that can usually signal a bottom. But again, no divergence, no buy signals. It's down. Trend is down. Is this COVID? That's your COVID lows, which you're basically at now. You're at pretty, like, if I roll out, you can see that's support on this one. It's good support. There's a reaction. COVID, stop there. And you're there now. So it's running stops for sure. That might continue for a little while. That is good support. However, I just don't see a buy signal. So what I'd be waiting for is divergence and then a breakout of a trendline resistance for my buy signal. You're at decent support, but it could, you might have a little wave down where they run stops, or support might break. So there's no indication to go long this thing quite yet. If you want to take a shot at support, it's definitely like better to buy at support than it is to buy, at a spike high in a mania. So, I'd rather go long here. If I had to pick a direction, if I was forced to take a position, I'd want to go long, because I don't really have divergence, but I've got trend line, I've got this support, but leave it to market makers to, do some washout moves and stuff. All right, I'm going to do two more, guys, and then I'm going to wrap up. So let's see. I got most of them, hopefully. Eli Lilly. Yeah, I will cover that one, I guess, because that's one I've been talking about on the channel. This one, it's big move on Thursday. Friday didn't really do much. I marked out a secondary trend line on this just because I see it chopping. We're chopping here. So then I said, okay, maybe this is the trend line. You've got support, support, there's a reaction, and there's a third. So what I was going to do is probably wait for another break of that to help confirm a sell signal, because in general it just wasn't acting, you know, it wasn't giving me that clean sell signal on that trend line that I was really hoping for. So the third, this is another trend line to watch for, and you can break that. Beyond that, I can't make a trend line. So if it breaks that, that would be a confirmation or a sell signal. Impulsive breakdown from kind of current levels, really. And then you probably go down to hit these lower gap targets. And one more. Let me do one more, guys, and then I got to get going. I did look at LLY. All right, let me see. What's this? ARM, Affirm, both have recent short squeezes. Okay. Well, then are we looking for a short then if we've squeezed out the shorts? Yeah, this one I'm not interested in. It's just, you know, it's brand new. So, and then AFRM, Affirm, AFRM, yeah. Yeah, sure, a short squeeze for sure. Much like the market. So you're starting to get that divergence. Here it is on the daily. Okay. And it's on the PPO. It's just starting, though. It's not even confirmed on the PPO, so pretty new thing. You know, potential trend line. It looks like the triple Qs to me, so I've got this area as kind of resistance. It's right in the area, and we're close. So again, I don't know. It could come down and pop. We're at the area of resistance, so I'd be more interested in shorting, but I don't have clean divergence. It's not developed, and I don't have a break of a trend line support to give me a sell signal. So this has, this has some work to do. I want to wrap up with this one though. All right, because this one looks really good to me, guys. So I've been harping on it for a while. It hasn't worked, it's gone down slightly, but in general, the way I look for trades and the strategy that I was teaching in my course and stuff was I try to get positioned. Basically, if you guys look at Google like the psychology of a market cycle or a bubble or something, you'll see this kind of the pattern that the market typically follows. And the strategy that we teach is that I'm really looking to tell you guys about is the entry point is typically in the smart money phase. So the smart money phase, and I don't want to pull it up now, but I'll pull it up maybe in a video. But the smart money phase is typically it's like it's not when everybody realizes it. So the pattern, it goes like this. You kind of go up, and then you get big down, and then like that. Okay, that's like the psychology. And the smart money phase typically is kind of like right down in here, basically. And then the institutions kind of follow the smart money, and then you've got like the public is getting involved like right in here maybe. Retail, the mania, and that's usually signals kind of the end. But so when I'm telling you guys about trades, I'm trying to get in the smart money thing, and then we want to exit, and sell when it turns into the mania. And that's what this looks like to me. So I think we've got on wheat, we've got a big bullish falling wedge. We've got a breakout. Okay, we caught these trades because it is following these trend lines. Held support, rallied into the 200. Okay, and now It's building bullish divergence, continues to build. It's big divergence. So the bigger the divergence, typically the bigger the move. All right, you hit support, and there's a divergent low. Someone was asking me about like exiting here, and maybe they'd be right, but in general, I said no, I don't want to exit here. It's a divergent low, and I think there's a high probability you're going to rally from here, and then boom, 13%. And so maybe this is the trend line that we're starting to march up. I can't say for sure because we've got this sideways range, all right? So we're either still in the range, and if we are, then we're probably going to go back down to the bottom of the range, or we're just starting this upward trend and we're about to break out. So if you want to wait and you're not in the position, a breakout above this $6 area and nice solid close would probably give you, a move up to the 200, and then we'll probably establish this as a trend line. All right. So I like it. I think it's good. And then if you look at the futures, and the futures is one of the reasons why, look at the futures, looks even better. All right. When someone was they asked me about getting out on that divergent low on the wheat ETN, and I said the futures don't look they look fine. They're holding this range. We have bullish divergence, and the futures have a breakout. You got the breakout, pullback, all right? So you break the 200, and off to the races we go, all right? So I like this one, and I think it's going to work. But, again, manage your own risk, manage your own trades. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap up. So thank you. Drop me a thumbs up on your way out, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.